Alright, so this is a shed I've been working on for the past few months. It's being used as an office right now. I wanted to practice building something before I tackle my garage that's gonna go somewhere in the front over there. So I watch a lot of Matt Reisinger type of videos, and they use like exterior insulation, so that's what I'm using. And I'm using 3/4 pieces of wood as a rain screen. As you can see, it's able to breathe on the behind there, and if any water, not there, but if any water gets in behind here, it's able to just flow all the way down. And also the siding is able to breathe behind and dry if any water gets behind it somehow. All these joints will be caulked, but this is completely, there is a gap behind the siding where water is able to flow down all the way down. So there's 3 inches of foam on top of an initial layer of zip, which is taped. 3 inches of foam, which is also taped in between the 2 layers of 1.5 inches. Show you around. It's sitting on blocks, but those blocks are cemented to the ground. There's chicken wire screen to prevent any animals from going down there. As you can see, so this was what's called monopoly framed. So there's foam encapsulating the whole shell of the shed, and then the roof is called an over roof, which means it's on top of the foam. So water would have to get through the shingles, the zip, which is a WRV, baby. 3 inches of foam, which are taped and foil faced. And then there's also another zip sheathing underneath that. I'll show you the back. And of course we have a mini split. This side is not done yet, but you can see that's my ERV, which I'm using for exhaust and fresh air. And then this is the covered porch. This side's not done. Well, like the rest of the thing, everything's a work in progress. There are speakers, cameras. It's gonna be a fan. So before I built this, I knew I had too many tools, and it was just gonna be going back and forth. So I decided to build this small shed. This small shed was not here originally. And also, by the way, this small shed also has a mini split because all the tools, I'll show you inside. So we have cabinets here for just all the tools, mini split. All the tools that I use for the shed, which I'm gonna also use to build the garage. But all these were in my basement or a small little patio that I had, which was not climate controlled, and I didn't want to get my tools messed up, so I built this shed before I started much bigger projects, and it's worked out great. That mini split was like $500 online. I've installed other mini splits and other HVAC equipment, so I already had the tools, so it was just the 500. Drywall. Of course, this would get finished, but this shed will not stay here once the garage is built. I would sell this or move it somewhere else. So this shed was not originally here. this shed, I'm using a canopy because I'm working, when I'm doing the siding, I work underneath here. This shed was originally meant to go here. I actually built it here. I can show some pictures on. But my neighbors called the city on me because I was a little too close to that wall. And they made me move it. So I put these wheels on the bottom of the shed and I pulled it out with my car. As you can see, still ruts left. And I was able to pull it over here in the meantime. And it's worked fine because all I need is for the tools to be close to where I'm working. So this is the shed. It is 12 by 16 feet long, 12 feet wide, 16 feet long. I'll show you the inside in a minute. Just got regular shingles. This is Trex decking that I haven't finished because, again, I never finish a project before jumping into the next one. This is pre-painted Hardy, which is awesome. I'm gonna be doing my house in that same material. It's awesome to work with. I'm so glad I looked into it. All right, anyways, I'm gonna show you inside the shed. Oh, here shows a little bit on how this, how the roof, you can see. Okay, let's walk inside. This is masked off because I still gotta paint, but that's been masked off since last year. So again, all my projects take forever. All right. Hold on. Well, this is the shed inside. I always wanted these windows. I've seen these windows online forever. They're European tilt and turn. They're not, so I'll show you how they work. So if you want to open it, you can go like this and they open to the inside, and you can, if you're like on a second floor or something, you can clean them from in here. But if you just want some fresh air, what you do is you tilt them and you can get fresh air without opening it all the way. Again, that's from watching Matt Reisinger and the other architect. That's always with him. So I'll show you the. This is a double one. It's just one of those with a strip in the middle, but it works the same way. You can open it. Okay. And we have another mini split. We also have, since I have so much attic space because of the 45-degree angle on the 12-12 pitch, I decided to add an attic access. Why not, right? It's free. So now, if you come in, actually the dehumidifier is working already, and we have we have the attic space, which has already been used. It's funny enough, I haven't even added insulation in here because the other insulation is doing such a good job. So there's 3 inches of insulation on the outside, and I'm gonna add insulation here. I just wanted to do a comparison of what it was without adding the insulation and just having the exterior insulation versus what the difference in temperature, humidity, all that stuff is once I add more insulation in here. Not the humidity, because it will be the same, but I'm saying the the flow of energy outwards, what would it be? Okay, so just extra. This is what I'm using to get to flow air in and out of the attic. And then this is what I'm using for fresh air. This is a Brown ERV. Right there is the exhaust. It's a single exhaust that splits into two. One's fresh air in and one is exhaust air out. And then it takes the exhaust from here, sends it outside with minimal efficiency loss. So then I'm just trying many different things. And there's my mess of wires that I companies everywhere. So just by elevating the roof line with a bigger pitch, you get this much room up here and storage. Okay, so have a light. So another thing that I wanted to show was I'm required to have this shed anchored down because of the size if I don't use a foundation. So these are the anchors that I'm using. Forget the name. But this is the type that I'm using. You bang it down, you pull, this turns on the ground, and then it's unable to come down. All the corners, see this right here? This is gonna get tied to that. And also, this is the material that goes down here and prevents bugs. This is called Coravent. It prevents bugs from going up there. So this gets cut in between all the pieces of wood. This gets cut right here. Prevents bugs, but it allows air and the water to flow, so it can dry the siding behind it. Okay, another note. The importance of having a rain screen. I think it's underestimated. If for some reason I was to get rain behind the siding, it would just flow all the way down. There's no place for it to stop and try to find its way inside, right? So if I put rain, somehow rain gets behind my siding like this, all it's immediately right? It finds its way down there right away. Same thing for the roof. The roof is the same construction, but instead of the 3/4 piece of wood, I'm using 2x4s upstairs. As you can see, like there. So if that sheathing ever gets wet for some reason, the air coming from underneath and from the sides will dry the back of that sheathing, so there's no rotting or anything like that, right? And it's like that the whole way around, right? So even if I was to get water like back there somehow, up there, like up there, right? It would fall out immediately. Not only that, but the most important part is that it lets air back out and it'll dry. This doesn't matter if it's dry because this is just aluminum foil, but all my wood that's behind can dry easily. And it's the same way everywhere. That vent goes all the way to the peak, and it's vented at the peak. So even though the shell of the shed is completely sealed, which I'm taking care of by using the ERV to bring in fresh air and exhausting stale air, outside of that shell, the wood that's encompassing the shed, like my stringers right here, my 2x4s and my 3/4, all that stuff is able to dry. By the way, people that always argue about what's better about solar, like vertical or horizontal, I just do all of it. So like, this is north facing too, so it doesn't matter. Just put it everywhere. If you can, put it everywhere. Anyways, about the shed. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comments.